Hi, I'm Adam Feldman from Visits, and today I'm going to give you some helpful hints about how to detect a malicious email.
Increasingly, we are seeing some very sophisticated Trojans specifically targeting Australian businesses, many of them pretending to be sent by well-known Australian organisations, including Australia Post, the ATO, banks, and various telecommunication and energy companies. Many of these have been a variation of a Trojan known as CryptoLocker, which is a type of ransomware. Now, when CryptoLocker infects a computer, it starts to encrypt your files, and it then demands payment for the key that you're going to need to decrypt those files. Now, good backups will usually get you out of trouble in this situation, but it can be a very aggressive and damaging piece of malicious software. Of particular concern is that some of these malicious programs are becoming widespread the very day they are getting released, and they're arriving in people's inboxes often before antivirus software has been updated to stop them. And that means you can't 100% rely on technology to protect you. And that's why we've produced this short video to help you identify the malicious emails that are getting through and to protect your data from the threat. The first piece of advice is to go with gut feel. If an email doesn't feel legitimate, it probably isn't. If you take this email I received yesterday, for example, I wasn't expecting an email from Asia.com. I've never dealt with that company. The email has some very poor spelling and grammar. It just doesn't look right. My gut tells me it isn't legitimate. Be careful opening attachments, particularly if they are a program or an executable or a compressed file such as a zip file, or in this case a RAR file. Compressed files like this one are often used to hide another program, making it harder for virus protection programs to detect them. If you weren't expecting the email or the attachment, please don't open it. Next, check whether the sender is legitimate. Now, if you look at the email I received yesterday, you can see that although it says it came from Australia Post, it has actually come from an email address ostpost-delivery.net. Now, I'm going to jump into the Australia Post website, and you can see that the actual domain for Australia Post is ozpost.com. It's not ostpost-delivery.net. So if the email address is not real, the email is probably not legitimate. Now, for this step, keep your fingers off the mouse buttons. Now, if you move your mouse over some of the links in the email, you'll see where those links would be taking you if you were to click them, which of course you're not going to do. Notice how in this particular email, the links point to quite a weird website, which is certainly not the Australia Post website. So that's a dead giveaway that the email is not legitimate. For comparison, this is actually a real Australia Post email. Notice how the email looks professional. The email sender is at the correct email address for Australia Post. If I move my mouse over the links, they send me to the Australia Post website, and this is a company that I actually had just dealt with in the last couple of days. So if you have received an email and you're not sure whether it is legitimate, one thing you can do is actually pick up the old-fashioned telephone, call the company and check whether they sent you the email.
So if you need any assistance, please contact the Visit Service Desk on 1300 300 979 or via email. Thanks very much for listening and stay safe online.